Hi everyone, welcome to lesson 2 of our second component of our geometry time of year. Don't worry, we're going to be integrating algebra into it. Now today we're going to be looking at two special relationships between angles. We're going to learn a third one the next class. And we're going to further understand how we can use a protractor to find angle measurements. Now, without further ado, I first want you to estimate the measurements of these angles. You don't have a protractor, that's why I'm having you estimate. I will mark if you are correct afterwards. I'm hoping you'll be within 5 to 10. Now, if you had a protractor, some of the important ones is we would notice that this ends up being 90. This being a straight line is 180. And this bottom left one, well, you can measure this angle as 90. And since the full makes 360, we know the angle we're looking for is 270 degrees. Now, starting from the top again, this ends up being 15 degrees less than 90. So it's acute, so we know it's less than 90. This happens to be 15 actually above 90. This middle one ends up being 10 away from 180, so 170 degrees. Whereas the next one is 10 beyond, so 190. And again, using this logic, we realize that this amount is 10 degrees. The full is 360, so we don't want 10 of it, so we want 350 degrees. Because remember, see how it's marked? We want the big reflex angle, not the acute angle. Okay, so you're going to be doing an exploration. You have a protractor for you to use here. Answer these 3 questions. Take about 6 minutes. So BCA, here's B to C to A, versus the next one, which therefore asks for B to C to D, the whole thing. So we see BCA, the green, is at 30 degrees. We then see that the yellow, we'll use gold as our yellow, actually goes to 90 degrees. Then we're asked to find ACD. ACD, which is just this part. Now, I hope you were able to figure out that it was 60 degrees, because what we realized was angle BCA, the green, plus the angle ACD, the blue, is equal to angle BCD, the yellow. So we were able to actually solve for it by subtracting the green from the yellow angle. Here's another exploration for you. Again, 6 minutes. Think about what we're noticing. This is exploration. We want to take something out of this. Go ahead. So let's mark our angles. So we have L, O, K. Well, this seems to be 2 away from 40. So it's actually, yep, so we'll say that's 38 degrees. So this is 38 degrees. If you said about 37, I could see how you could go with 37 as well. It's sort of hard to tell there. So I'm accepting both of those answers. Now, if we go to LOM, let's check out LOM. Well, that's a straight angle. That's 180. And then we're asked to find KOM. Well, we can actually use this same 2 logic and see that the yellow and the blue make up a full straight angle. So if we thought it was 37, I could say 180 minus 37 and get a 143 degrees. So I'd accept that answer. If you said it was 38, then you would have subtracted 38. You would have gotten 142 as your answer. So I would accept either of those. What are we noticing? Okay, exploration 3. BAC is a right angle. Find CAD. Go ahead. So as a reminder, BAC is this. I'm marking it with a box because right angles we mark with a box, which means it's 90 degrees. Well, what I could then realize is that this angle, that's 64, plus this angle that we're looking for makes up the 90. Let's put some algebra on that. X plus 64 equals the 90 minus 64. X equals 26 degrees. This is the measure of angle CAD. So I use the fact that they added up to the right angle. One more exploration. So this is how we often refer to on a line. So point O is on a line RS. So that means this makes a line. Find me SOP. So SOP is from here to here, which when combined with the 76, we'll say this is Y, makes up the full 180 minus the 76. Y is 104 degrees. This is angle SOP. So we use the fact that we had a straight angle. That was the same in exploration 2. Here's the concept alert. We have two terms, complementary angles and supplementary angles. Complementary are two angles whose sum is 90 degrees. We saw that with the right angle. Supplementary are two angles whose sum is 180 degrees. We saw that with the straight angle. Make sure that you're adding these two concepts to your notes, but these are the first two special relationships that angles can be. We can say, hey, they're complementary. That doesn't mean saying something nice about someone. Or we could say they're supplementary. Here's your first practice. Angles EAB and FCD are supplementary. Find the measure of FCD. Now, I know some of you might not be writing equations, but I'm starting to write equations because I think it will help us later down the road. So here, this is, say, A. So we are told they're supplementary. So the two of them add up to 180 degrees. So A is 106 degrees after I subtract that 74. So this measure angle is 106 degrees because they're supplementary and they add up to 180. Practice 2, go ahead. So there are multiple answers to both of these. Both of these. Now, I can say, for example, so supplementary adds up to 90. Oh, sorry, complementary. I'm on complementary. Complementary adds up to 90. And I see that 27 plus 63 is 90. So I could say angle DCM and angle DMC are complementary. Or I also notice that 64 plus 26 are supplementary. So I could say angle FGM and angle GMF are complementary. There's multiple answers. Now, we don't know for sure that this is a box, so we can't say the other ones. We have to use the ones that we know. Okay, now add up to 180. Well, the easiest thing is to find a line. Say that. So therefore, those angles, angle DMC, that's the 63-degree angle, angle FMG, that's the 64-degree angle, and angle GMC, that's the one in between them, I know those add up to 180. So we are looking here. Now we're not asked to find the angle measurement, we're asked to find X. Now, because of that red box, I know that these two angles, this, oh, I'm not going to use red as well, green and blue, are complementary. So they add up to 90. So they add up to equaling 90. So therefore, 48 and a 3x plus 6 add up to 90. I can combine these like terms and get that 3x plus 54 equals 90. And this is why I was doing algebra earlier. I can now solve and say that this ends up being a 36 divided by 3, x equals 12. I can also check to make sure that this makes sense. And I could say, okay, so this angle measurement is 3 times 12 plus 6, which is 36 plus 6, which is 42. So this is 42 degrees, and 42 and 48 make 90, which is a right angle, so they are complementary. So I did it correctly. Always check yourself. Make sure you have this example in your notes to reference, and then I have some for you to do. Go ahead, determine the relationship that exists, set up the equation, and solve for x. So this relationship is the fact that they are supplementary because they make a line. So I can therefore say 85 plus the 6x plus 5, the other angle, is equal to 180. Therefore, I can say 6x plus 90 equals 180. Subtract my 90. 6x equals 90. Divide by 6. X becomes, if I divide, let's see, this becomes a 45 halves. So it's a 22.5. Oh, that's not correct. Sorry about that. I'm doing my math incorrect without a calculator. So I divide by 3, that's a 30. So that's a 15. So x is 15. Again, you can check real quick. 6 times 15 plus 5. This ends up becoming a 90 plus 5, which is 95 degrees is the measurement. So this and this make up 180, which is our goal. They're supplementary. Practice 4. Go ahead. Here's the answer to practice 4. I realized they were complementary, so I set them equal to 90. I solved for x, and I again made sure I checked. Notice I color-coded even the check, so I saw that I was able to get that the blue angle was 34 degrees. Adding that to the green 56 degrees, I got 90 degrees, which is what our goal was. Here's practice 5. Let's see what you can do. Go ahead. So this took us, we had to combine some like terms that were variable terms, but 3x plus 5x became 8x. I was then able to solve for x. I had to substitute this in for both the 3x and the 5x plus 2 to be able to check. And I saw that 33 and 57 degrees when added makes 90 because they are in fact complementary. One more practice problem before an exit ticket. Go ahead. So this last practice problem was supplementary, and we were able to then add them up. And again, we see the check here to be 180. If you need to pause it, make sure you pause it. Otherwise, go on to the exit ticket. So as you know, for the summative, I don't just ask questions that are straightforward. I ask questions that require problem solving. So this is to preface what you might experience with some of the questions that will be on the summative. So this is a little riddle. So I am complementary to an angle that is 15 degrees larger than me. Who am I? And then the next one is I am supplementary to an angle that is double my size. Who am I? So your goal is to try these two on your own, input your answers. I will go over them afterwards, so make sure you watch it. Go ahead. So you could use guess and check. I like to use algebra because it takes a lot of the stress out of it. We are looking for an angle that is complementary to another angle 15 degrees larger. So complementary means we're making 90 degrees. Let's say that this is the angle that I'm missing. Missing angle. And we're told we're complementary, so the other angle is 15 larger, x plus 15. So now I could go to what we were doing before and say x plus 15 has to equal 90. So 2x plus 15 is 90. Subtract the 15 to get that 2x is equal to a 75. X is therefore equal to a 37.5 degrees. And this is the angle measurement that we're looking for. For the next one, we can do something very similar. I am supplementary to an angle double my size. So here's my angle. I'm supplementary, which means I add up to 180 to something double my size. So y, 2y, 3y equals 180, divide by 3, and I get y is 60 degrees. So what I'm looking for is 60 degrees. So instead of trying to guess and check, I'm just using algebra and the relationships described to set up an equation that I can solve. So these are the first two. We will learn one more relationship in the next class. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, everyone.